This is exactly what we were waiting for, as a huge Vikings player has made a return to the practice field and joining the OTA festivities, giving Vikings fans lots to be happy about and excited for this upcoming season, as we and the team have huge hopes for this team. We're going to be breaking down all that in this episode of Vikings Digest, but first, if you're enjoying this content, you want to help us reach our goal of 1,400 subscribers before next week, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any of the Vikings updates as they drop. And with that, let's hop straight into it, which is that he is back. And yes, we're talking about Christian Darrisaw, as Tuesday, June 10th, the left tackle was a participant in individual drills during mandatory minicamp per Vikings.com. Darrisaw suffered a knee injury last year against the Rams during Minnesota's regular season meeting against them in Week 8. We all saw that happen on Thursday Night Football. It was an ugly injury, and we had to scramble and go and get Cam Robinson. And Pro Football Focus ranked Darrisaw as the 11th best tackle in the entire league out of 140 players who saw enough snaps to qualify at the position in 2024. Darrisaw inked a 4-year extension worth $104 million with the Vikings in July last year that keeps him under contract in Minnesota through 2029. And with the cap constantly going up and contracts just getting more and more lucrative, it is amazing that they were able to lock him down when they did before the market goes up. And that's how they were able to bring in all these players that they brought in over this offseason with the free agency and the draft, which we'll hop into in a second. But overall, Christian Darrisaw is looking like he is going to be back on the field before the start of the season. And by the numbers as well, Christian Darrisaw, like we said, ranked 11th best tackle in the league amongst 140 players. Signed a 4-year deal. Will Fries also inked a 5-year contract worth $88 million, so he's locked down. And Ryan Kelly signed for a total of $18 million over 2 years. So with those new guys, they're not going anywhere for at least 2 years, and Will Fries for the next 5. So we're going to have a pretty strong offensive line for the years to come, considering the term that we have these guys locked down for. And as far as his state of play, Darrisaw's return brings a vital player back to an offensive line that's undergone significant changes. The Vikings have committed substantial resources to rebuild the offensive line this offseason, and multiple new high-level offensive linemen are expected to improve this unit's performance dramatically. But one thing to note is that this is just a drill practice, and he hasn't been shown to be doing everything at practice, but just to be out there is a big deal. The Vikings have been notoriously conservative when it comes to players returning from injury, just like we saw with TJ Hawkinson. And then seeing Darrisaw work out like this, even though he has a big knee brace on, is a great sign. And I know you guys are really happy, and I know I'm happy as well, because a standard ACL recovery would plop Darrisaw back on the field in late August, coincidentally a couple weeks before the start of the season. We shall see if the Vikings greenlight the superstar lineman for Week 1. Now, right off the bat, I don't know if this is something we're going to see happen Week 1 for Darrisaw. Like we said before, TJ Hawkinson, we saw how long it took him to come back. With some other players as well, just kind of easing them into the swing of things, even if they're just coming off of a minor injury or a major injury. Even with JJ McCarthy, he's not going to play a single snap of that preseason. Are you kidding me? He is not going to see the field in the preseason except for maybe one drive in Week 1. Other than that, I don't see JJ stepping on the field in preseason at all because of what happened last season. So not to say that all the big stars aren't going to play in the preseason. That's not to say that for anything, because I think we're going to see some guys get some preseason snaps. Definitely Jordan Addison, probably a little bit. Jordan Mason too. There's going to be some guys that get some reps in there in the preseason, just not that many. JJ McCarthy will not be one of them because of what happened last year. And as far as easing that back into it, they want to make sure that by the time Week 1 rolls around, they don't have to ease JJ back in. They're probably looking at it as the same way with Darrisaw in this sense, because he's such a big piece of this offensive line, and it was a big glaring piece missing last season when we lost him with injury. So we went out and we got a bunch of guys. But overall, as far as what's next with him, with training camp approaching, the Vikings will monitor his recovery closely while integrating the new offensive acquisitions into the lineup. Future practices should reveal how effectively the revamped offensive line can protect McCarthy in the upcoming season. This strategic overhaul could have some long-term implications for the team's success and could set the tone for Darrisaw's continued development. Bottom line, the Vikings' proactive approach to revamping their offensive line, coupled with Darrisaw's promising return, positions them for a more competitive season. Investing heavily in protection for McCarthy demonstrates clear commitment to improving the team's performance and resilience moving forward, with McCarthy at the helm and bringing in these new guys, with Will Fries being the big one among them, Ryan Kelly as well. And then you go out and you drafted Donovan Jackson, and not for no reason as well. You went out and got him with the number 24 overall pick. A lot of people said that we might have moved up too high, or not moved up, but we might have taken him too high in the draft. But when you look at what Minnesota is trying to invest in with this team, especially with the possibility that Darrisaw will not be ready for week 1, they want to make sure that they have all their eggs in a basket and make sure they have all their ducks in a row, making sure, hey, if we don't have him week 1, we can make sure Donovan Jackson go in there, Blake Brandel, somebody can go in there and fill in that spot until Darrisaw is ready. And as far as Donovan Jackson is concerned, Kevin Seifert was saying on ESPN that rarely do you see an NFL team take such a single-minded approach, not to mention devote this level of resources to fix a personnel problem as the Vikings have this offseason for their interior offensive line. There seems to be little doubt that Jackson, barring injury, will be a starter at some point in his rookie season. I definitely don't think that's a stretch to predict that by any sense, because look at the production he put up at Ohio State. They've got him in the first round for a reason. You don't go out and get a guy in the first round just to sit him for an entire year, unless it's a quarterback and you already have a good situation going there. We saw that happen last year. Dallas Turner, they moved up in the draft to get him. There was no way in hell he was going to be sitting out that entire year, and we saw him get a lot of opportunities. As many as we wanted to see? No, but that was just because we had a stacked defense as far as the depth chart went, and he just was a victim of, hey, seniority happens, you're a low man on totem pole, and hey, you're still going to get your opportunities, and he shined in those opportunities. So now moving over to Donovan Jackson, you look at that scenario where you have him rotating in, where if you have Darrisaw who's not fully ready, but he can play a few snaps here and there, or you're just, if Darrisaw is ready to go week 1, you limit that load to maybe about 50-60% snap share until about week 5 or 6, when we go across the pond over to the UK, and make sure that he's ready for those games. Or even on those games, keep him on a bit of a pitch count, just because the air, the field, everything's a little bit different over in the UK compared to America or just in US Bank Stadium. So that'll be a bit more of an adjustment for him to make, especially with traveling that altitude with that knee injury. Who knows if he aggravates it or things like that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But with traveling across the pond like that, that'll be something to monitor, where, hey, maybe we have to put Donovan Jackson in here for more than half the snaps or half of the snaps, especially in those international games early on in the season, where those are road games that are going to feel like home games that we are going to want to steal just to have that much more momentum going through the season. Now, will Darrisaw be fully ready for that? That's still a long ways away. However, if he is one of those guys who is ready week 1 but not fully ready, I can definitely see Donovan Jackson getting a fair share of snaps throughout the start of the regular season. We're definitely going to see what he's capable of in the preseason, because that'll be a guy that we will see as far as some starters or some big names on this Vikings team that will get preseason reps. He will definitely be one of them. So that's going to be one to watch out for. Ty Felton as well. That's another guy to watch out for. So there's going to be a lot of guys to look out for as the training camp and mini camp and everything else in between go through the motions into the preseason. So there's going to be a lot of things to bring you guys updated on, so you won't want to miss any of that. But overall, what are your guys' thoughts on everything happening with the Vikings? Do you guys think that Donovan Jackson will make a start in his rookie season and will get a decent amount of snap shares? Do you think that Christian Darrisaw will be ready to go week 1? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. As far as my personal opinion, I think Christian Darrisaw will be 110%, probably be by the week 4 to 6 range, just like I was predicting with TJ Hawkinson last year. So there was a few things there where Minnesota has a tendency to not rush these players back into a game if they're not fully ready. And I would definitely love to see them take that approach, especially with a high asset with Christian Darrisaw. So I definitely think we might see him play a little bit maybe in the first couple weeks, but I definitely think he'll be 110% by that end of the first quarter of the season. We'll definitely see what Donovan Jackson is made of during that time. But let us know down in the comments below what you guys have to hear about all of this, or have to say about all of this. And you don't want to miss the video that we have coming out tomorrow on Brian Flores and what he was saying about a certain free agent that is available on the market. So stay tuned for that. You guys won't want to miss it when it drops tomorrow. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.